Dive right in.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the Imposter Syndrome podcast. This is where we discuss the grind of the growing creator. I'm your host, Quay Jones. And today we're going to switch it up from last episode. I got
Yes,
my
sir.
boy Rich Banks back here,
Yes,
co-host. Rich, welcome to the show again.
Thank you. It feels good to be back. I love it. I feel like, this is where we belong right now. You know what I'm saying? We're about to take over the space here.
That's for sure. So today what we going to do, y'all?
Let's talk about it.
My man Rich Banks, he going to ask me the questions.
Yes, sir. We
Last
switching the
episode,
roles.
we got to talk to Rich. It was a great episode, well received. Want to thank everybody for listening. But this time we thought it'd be cool, you guys get to know me a little bit better.
Yes,
So my man Rich Banks gonna ask some questions.
So let's
Rich,
get into it.
let's
right?
jump into this.
So, my man, talk to me, right? Like, you're in film, right? This is where your true passion is, right? We do the podcast. We do, we have other passions, right, outside of this.
Of course.
So, talk to me about yours.
I mean,
Where did it
honestly,
start,
so my passion is filmmaking. I recently got into photography a lot at my job.
Yes, sir. I've noticed that.
Yeah, so photography has been, really fun. I've been enjoying it. I'm really eager to do more, more photo shoots, be around more photographers, people who have experience, things like that. But first and foremost, filmmaking 100%. I love writing my own stories. I love making them.
Writing them and bringing them to life, right?
Yeah, that's the
there's
best
nothing
part.
like it.
Yeah, because
Alright.
you see, you write something, you kind of see it in your mind. Even when I read other people's work,
Yeah.
I sometimes
You
forget
envision it.
that wasn't a movie, that's happened to me before. I've read comic books and couldn't remember, damn, did I see this in an anime or whatever? But I just visualized it so heavily that I thought it was something I had watched. So again, to be able to do that with my own stuff,
Yeah, 100%.
that's the dopest thing that I could possibly do right now.
And you definitely let your, imagination run wild, especially when you're writing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I write movies that I have no budget possible for. You know what I mean? I'm just writing shit that's just way out of my my league as far as money goes, because it's expensive to make some of these movies. But nevertheless, that doesn't really stop me from kind of writing those types of films. But yeah.
I hear you. So let me ask you a question. Where did it start? Where was the spark that was you know what? I'm going to pursue this, and this is what I'm going to do. And why was it film? Why wasn't it anything else?
So the thing is, it was other things at points in my life. But initially, I got into film when I was in Job Corps. I had always watched movies and loved watching how movies were made. You used to get everybody may not know this now, but we used to watch DVDs back in the day. Everything wasn't on Netflix.
You take it back to VHS.
Right.
Yeah,
So
crazy.
I used to have the DVDs, and the DVDs would come with director's commentary or behind the scenes stuff. If you got the ultimate deluxe version of the DVD, you would get that stuff with it. And it was so dope to me as a kid, just being able to watch it. And sometimes they would even have a director's note, this little pamphlet with just things that people who made the movie thought about or whatever. It was just so dope to learn all that stuff, almost more exciting than the movie itself. So yeah, that's kind of how my interest got involved.
And what age was that?
No idea. I mean, I don't know, maybe 10. My gauge of what I was doing and how old I was is horrible.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to remember.
My depth perception in that aspect is shot.
Yeah,
I've been doing this since 10. You're no, bro, you were 17. You're well,
right.
so long ago when you're this old. All right,
Right.
You know what I mean?
So maybe it was 10 when I initially started getting into that type of stuff, and but I didn't really have any opportunities until I went. I was in Job Corps, and I had this major. They made it was kind of fake college or whatever. Pick a major and or trade, I guess you could call it.
Yep.
So I picked. It was called Digital Media Arts or some shit like that. And yeah, at one point we had to learn editing, so they made us shoot a little movie.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah. And my movie, of course, was like the most
Horror?
controversial movie out of everyone who made one. Like I had to like talk to the dean. It was all types of stuff. Like it was about
You violated some school guidelines over here.
yeah, like I was in the movie and I had got like slightly injured in the movie and people like found out about it. It was like, what the hell are you doing? Like it was like this good cop bad cop movie thing or whatever.
That's hilarious.
And yeah, there was a scene where we had to, where the guy was like getting interrogated and he got slammed on the table.
So I was the guy who got slammed
on the table. And
I love that.
yeah, I wanted a couple of different angles from it or whatever. We did a couple of takes and
one of them angles hurt you.
one of those angles I went through the table, it broke. Yeah, the table broke. It was hilarious.
So it went from good cop, bad cop to WWE.
Yeah, exactly.
Smackdown. I'm Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but
Brock Lesnar.
right. As a wrestling fan, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like it's like I put.
Now I know how it feels, but it don't feel nice, right?
No, it did not feel nice. But my number one concern after I got put through the table, I looked at the guy that was holding the camera and said, "Did you record that?"
My back shot. I slipped the disc. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Okay, good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
But yeah, that was like my first experience, with like filmmaking. That was the first thing like I had ever did. It was really small and again like just really like low budget. Like we didn't have any lights or anything. It was just like some random camera.
Just shooting.
Yeah, like it was just.
I'm trying to get a grade at this point.
Right. It was like not structured at all. Like it was just like, hey, here's a camera, go film something and come back and edit it. Like that was the whole point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, Job Corps finished, whatever the case may be. I'm assuming that you stopped at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've known you for quite some time, and I know when you went, when you started going to school or whatever the case may be. So I know there was a point where it all stopped. Walk me back into like once you kind of like gave that idea up. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in it when you're in it, right? And when it's done, it's done. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you don't have lights, you don't have equipment, you don't have these things, so it would have looked crazy anyway, right?
Right.
So you stop. Walk me through that. After you stop, what sparks that interest? Like, what were you doing prior to getting back into film? Like, were you doing anything creative? Did you have any other outlet? Like, I know this is like our outlets, right? I do music, that's my outlet. You do film, like that's yours. So like, walk me through that.
I mean, honestly, after Job Corps, between Job Corps and like, I guess recent times, I did a lot of like bullshit and truthfully, like I didn't really do a lot of shit. I kind of bounced around from place to place to town for a little bit. For all of my life, I was in New York. I spent a couple of months in North Carolina with my grandmother. Came back, just worked a bunch of, shout out to grandma.
Yes, sir.
I just worked a bunch of like, random jobs, regular jobs, you know what I mean? Met some people, did some stuff. But like, I didn't really have any intentions on doing filmmaking or anything, honestly. Yeah. Like I really was not that
wasn't
much
even
of
a thought.
Yeah, I
Once
wasn't.
It stopped, it wasn't even a thought.
No.
Like that's not where. I mean, your passion may have been there, but that's not where like life was leading. Right?
Right. No, not at all. I mean, in the back of my mind, filmmaking was always something that like I had spoke about doing to people, like but. Like,
it's unrealistic, quote unquote, right? Like you talk about it, and people are like, oh, all right, like, but what are you doing for a job now? And you're like, yeah, that's not how this film thing works, though.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Like, I mean, it just
more to it.
I was just more focused on, I think, more focused on just working and like surviving and being, I was like 18, 19. I was just trying to, I didn't live at home with my mom. I was just out, doing my own thing.
Yeah. At this point, it's survival, right?
Yeah, so I was just like, all right, I just need to have somewhere to live, pay the bills, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of get through the day.
Yeah.
But eventually, my mom basically had a friend one time, and the friend had like introduced me and my brother to martial arts. Literally, by just was like, hey, like here's this video, like just watch this at school. And like we watched it and like instantly fell in love. Like it was just like the most ridiculous thing that we've ever seen. I can hit people and not get in trouble,
right? Yeah, I love that.
And the thing about me and my brother, part of it, like we found it hilarious.
That's what.
Right,
boy too.
Tale, my boy, little bro.
You know what I'm saying?
But like we found it hilarious, like like legitimately funny to see someone get beat up. So like it was just something that we could just enjoy under like any circumstances.
Yeah, I remember Tale. Speaking of Tale, I remember Tale like trying to create his own style of fighting, and my boy, it was something like swag. It was striking, wrestling, something.
Swag. It was striking, wrestling, and aggressive ground control. That is
Yeah,
the slogan that
yeah.
I made up.
Was that you? That was you.
Me and
Let's
him
go.
made that up.
I remember.
Yes,
I was like,
listen, this is
I
a
remember,
strategy.
like, yo, it was
Yeah.
like swag, bro. Like,
Yeah, because I got like
which is fire.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, I know y'all was
Yeah,
into
we
it.
was-
Like,
yeah,
y'all
we
was
were
trying to
into
create
it,
your
yeah.
own little
we were training in my
subsection
place.
of fight.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
fight style,
like legit,
you know what I'm saying?
like you know what I'm
Like-
saying. Like we were training in my house, like just watching YouTube videos of like fighters giving tutorials, and we would just do that shit to each other, and learn. And then eventually, like I got like this free trial at a gym or whatever, and the guy was like, "Oh, like have you guys done anything before?" And I was like, "No, bro, we just watch YouTube videos." Like,
Like, nah, but
Yeah.
I kind of know what y'all doing because I seen it in the YouTube
right.
videos.
And
like,
not only did we watch like videos on like tutorials, but like we watched so many fights. Like it was just like you know what I mean.
And you're still a big like UFC
Yeah.
mixed martial arts guy.
Yeah,
to this day.
100%
It's
to this
not-
day. And like like for the longest time, like that's what I was gonna do. Like once I realized, like after a while, I got a little bit like older, and I was like, you know what, like. Again, I got that free trial at the gym, and instantly I was addicted. Like
That's
after
it,
that,
yeah.
it was just like,
They got you.
holy cow! Like this is just, you know what I mean?
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Hook and
Got it with the
sinker.
fever.
First day,
the fighting
yeah.
fever.
I was just like, wow, like this was, amazing. And yeah, like, that was my passion for a long time, but, eventually things led to another. I wound up having like a pretty severe, like, back injury that was kind of permanent, and, things kind of got derailed before they really, got going. I was in the process of like training for a fight, and then that happened. The doctor was like, yeah, you're done. You can't do none of that. So, yeah, I was done with that.
That's it.
Yeah.
So after that, now where are we? Where
I mean,
are you struggling though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you struggling mentally because this is what you want to do, right? At this point, this is what you want to do. At this point in your life, right? So where are we mentally? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be down, right? Training for a fight, you're excited about this. You think this is where your life is going now. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're that young, it all feels like everything is it, right? It's like, oh, this is my passion, this is my dream. Like, I'm gonna do that. It switches often. So like, but at that moment, I know that you were probably disheartened. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, honestly, I was pretty devastated. Like, that was something I was positive I was gonna do for a very long time, and it was crushing to kind of have that taken away from me so suddenly, and
100%.
especially when again I was so determined. I mean, I would get
You made
up.
your mind up. This is
I
it. This
made
is what
my
I'm
mind
doing.
up, yeah.
Right.
I worked at Planet Fitness at the time. I got up like 4:00 in the morning. I would go to work early so that way I could work out for like an hour or so. Then I, shower, get something to eat, clock in for my shift. After work out with some of the bodybuilders that would come to the gym. Like, they were nice enough to kind of take me under their wing and kind of like show me how to like grow my body.
Yeah,
And,
100%.
I had like a tremendous gain in muscle. Like it was ridiculous. If you look at pictures of me from my early 20s, like I'm super skinny, especially in comparison to now.
He said, I'm super skinny.
Yeah, like, I was
The way
really
you just
skinny.
looked at me, you was like, the good old days.
Yeah, I was super skinny, and but I didn't have a lot of muscle on me or whatnot. But like those guys, like
Just lean,
yeah,
lanky, one of those.
So, but they taught me like how to
was
treat
looking
my
like Kevin
body, and how
Durant
to
out
get
there.
exactly. I was looking like Kevin Durant. You know what
My
I'm
boy
saying?
had the Kevin Durant body build, boy. Oh, crying. He had that KD.
Yeah, so they got me right. You know what I mean? And again, I'd work out with them after work, and then I'd go do my training,
Yeah.
I did that a couple of times a week, so, I was really dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
And once once that was gone, it was gone.
It was gone.
You know what I mean? Again, I was devastated. I spent a lot of time feeling fucking
Drained.
sorry for myself, drained.
Gone in the wind.
Yeah,
right?
like,
I know how that feels. I know
just
how that feels.
devastated. Like
I gave up music like 70 times.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And this time it's finally hitting, and it feels good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, you stick through it, right? But there's plenty of times I felt that way. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like I'm working for something, and I'm like I'm determined, right? And it's one thing that derails it, and it's so disheartening. Never want to do it again, right? And that's the type of person I am. Like once one thing happens, I'm like honestly, I'm like fuck this. I don't want to do it. Like it could be the littlest, not the littlest. It could be the littlest thing with me. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I be wilding.
Yo, you don't want to tell them about your PS5?
See, I knew he was getting
You're ready. So this man,
let's not talk about it.
hold on. My man finally
Jesus
talk
Christ,
about
he
it
making me nervous.
for weeks. Yo, I'm gonna get a PS5. I'm game with you, this and that and the third. I'm like, yeah, bro, you should get one. Like, bro, we would be on.
First of all, I had a PS4, right?
had a
But
PS4.
niggas was making fun of me, and they were like, "Oh, I can't hear you. It sounds like you're talking to me from a PS3, right?" So I got sick of being bullied. You know what I'm saying? These niggas bullied me.
Cyberbullied.
They cyber bullied me into getting a PlayStation 5.
Nah,
I mean, it was a great decision.
We just
but
encourage
it was-
them, to kind of upgrade with the times.
Depends on
know
who you
what I mean?
ask. That's subjective. Encouragement, bullying. They sound the same to me, bud.
Well, you eventually got yourself a PS5. Ordered one.
It took weeks.
Told me like, yo,
Almost a
bro,
month.
it's coming.
Couple
I'm
months.
like, bet.
Whatever.
So finally the day comes.
Here we go.
The day comes. The PS5 is supposed to come this
The
day.
plot thickens.
It comes, but he not home.
I'm not home.
So they don't sign.
I'm at work.
He at work.
Like an adult.
They take it home. All of this, that, and the third. You know what this man does? The PS5 finally comes. Like 2 days later than it was supposed to come. I'm like, bro, you got the PS5? He's like, yeah. But I'm sending that shit back. You sending it back. You got the PS5 in the house.
Yeah, it was sitting in my room for like 4 days. I was determined. I'm not opening it. I'm like, yo. So first of all, let me just say this. I'm gonna say this straight up, right? Fuck Walmart, and also like, kind of fuck PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? Because hear me out, right? You remember like back in the day when you were a kid, right? And PlayStation came out, right? There's a new PlayStation 2 came out, right? You're like, you didn't get them for Christmas? Sad. Black Friday, sad. That's always when they dropped, like around that time, right?
Yeah.
Sad. Oh man, Christmas sucks. But like 6 months later, they were everywhere, nonstop, always. You could get them everywhere, right? But now, it's 2 years later, all right? There's not 6 months. Like
It's 2 years later.
It's 2 years later, and these things are unattainable. And not only are they unattainable, now you have to buy bundles, right? So you can't even get them for retail price. So now you're not paying what's the most expensive one? I think it's $499.
Yeah.
I paid $700 for like
they selling the bundles. You got a game with it though.
I mean, yeah, a game that I'm never going to play, nigga. Let's be real. I got the bundle because it was the PlayStation. That was the only one there, and it's actually the cheapest one there, and that was fucked up.
PlayStation, we love you. Don't.
I mean, I love you. I do. Again, I love it.
Nevertheless, he opened that PS5. He came to his senses.
I did.
And opened that PS5.
No, actually, I didn't come to my senses. Actually, I'll be honest with you. My heart was set. But we're going to bring it back to the cyberbullying, all right? So I got bullied and peer pressured into keeping it. I was like, no. And they're all like, yeah, you're stupid. Oh, you got a PlayStation 5 sitting right behind you, and you're playing with us on your PlayStation 4. That's dumb. You're dumb. I don't know why I'm talking to you. Are you on your PS3 still? Like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, bro.
I got bullied. It's all right.
We strongly encourage you to do the right thing.
Okay. Well, it was nice, and it felt good when everything loaded super fast, and I was like able to switch again. Things changed for me drastically. Yeah. I'm actually getting more kills since I opened up the PS5.
That's good there. I'm glad.
So
it's helping you out.
I think it's really doing a lot for my KD. But anyway, we're gonna bring it back, right? To you, we're rubbing it back around, right? What are we pointing at?
The fans for the.
Oh, they're so loud, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we're bringing it back.
But yeah, so boom, your MMA hopes are done.
Yeah, done for.
Now, where are we at in your life? What are you doing? What's your new goal? Like, how do we get to you going to school for film and then you like actively pursuing this? You know what I'm saying? And not making it like it's not a hobby. It's not like something that you're just doing for fun. Although, yeah, obviously you enjoying it, right? You love to do it, obviously. But like it's something that you're actively pursuing as a career, you know?
I mean, so once again, I spent a lot of time doing nothing, which for me, nothing means like, just working regular, random, whatever jobs,
Nothing pushing you forward.
I mean,
propelling you
I
in-
usually did really well at those jobs. I mean, like, I had family and friends tell me all the time. I go from job to job, and they tell me, well, you're going to be running the place in 2 months or whatnot. Every time, because usually that's how it went. I'd come in, and eventually I'm either offered a manager position or accepted a manager position, depending on the job or whatnot.
where he's turned them down.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, my man turns down positions.
Sometimes,
Round of applause
it's
for that.
it's all about.
Yes. I love that. That was great.
It's all about opportunity in the situation. Like if the situation don't fit, then it don't fit. There's nothing I could do about that.
Yeah.
And
You're not like committed to anything that
yeah,
isn't like, if it doesn't feel right, you're not there.
right. But again, I did well, so that always helped. But again, it wasn't like something I was super into. But ultimately, I wound up going to school, and that was partly because I had just watched my mom graduate with her bachelor's.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like we went to her graduation, and me and my girlfriend and my cousin Ben went.
Oh yeah.
Ben went. Ben and his mom went, and like it was
Shout
so
out to
dope.
Ben.
Yeah, shout out to Ben.
A future episode coming soon.
So like it was dope. Like what I'm saying, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I was so proud of her. May she rest in peace. She passed recently this year.
Absolutely. Rest in peace.
But I was really proud, and I was impressed and motivated.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like
my mom just graduated. I
Yeah.
can do this shit too.
right, like I could do this
got
too. Like I could do, what I'm saying, I can do something.
Yeah,
it's not too late.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but bam, there you go.
So
Co-host shit. It's perfect timing. That was great. I'm feeling this.
yeah, we gotta take a shot to that.
I would take a
Hold
shot
on.
to that. That was
Yes,
classic.
yes, sir.
Classic Rich and Quay right here. That
So,
honey feels nice.
So yeah, it was dope. My mom encouraged me to, she was like, you've been talking about this film stuff for a while. Like, you should do whatever you gotta do. Same thing with Val. I spoke to her. Again, she also encouraged me. So yeah, eventually I was just like, just one day I just applied to school. Next thing you know, I was, signing up, and I was heading to school to do filmmaking. But
Crazy, huh?
it was crazy.
Life moves at you fast. Because I remember when you told me, you were like, I'm thinking about going to school for film or whatever.
Right.
And like, I feel like it was like the process of like a week and a half. And you were like, I started in like March or whatever. And I was like, what? You're like, yeah, like I'm in. I'm like, oh shit, good shit. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It happened
It
quick.
happened fast. It
Yeah.
did happen very fast.
I remember my first day, I experienced the most ridiculous anxiety of my life. Just going to school the first day, just on the bus ride there.
Just awkward, right? Going to school at, whatever age, especially if you're in your late, I want to say late 20s, early 30s, or anywhere in an age where you don't feel like it's you should be done with school.
I was in my
right?
late 20s, yeah.
So it's you should be done with school. It's not you're going in, you feel awkward.
Yeah, and it was just, again, feeling awkward because I hadn't done school in so long.
Yeah.
And it was just
What do I do? How do I do this?
yeah, I was also a little wary about interacting with people in school for whatever reason. It's not like I ever had problems interacting with people, but
You just don't know who you're gonna get there, right? It's just I don't know what I'm gonna get. Maybe people don't want to be friends.
Right,
I'm an adult. They might be adults. They might just be trying to get through with this so they can make their films.
Yeah, and I was not really in the mood to be like social with people either.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really care about being around a bunch of people, talking to people, you know.
Nah.
But I knew it was something that I had to do if I wanted to, you know, kind of.
Well, you got to network, right? But
Yeah.
network doesn't necessarily mean that you got to be like buddy and like
Right.
you know what I'm saying. It's working together is different than like yo, we're gonna go out for lunch and hang out and maybe grab a drink or something.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, it was, but it turned out to be kind of buddy-ish. Like, I'm not going to lie. I met so many, like, amazing people just kind of going to that school. It was a good school, but I would say the thing that I got the most out of it was the people that I met in that process. Like,
because that was important.
It was super important. I mean, without Leo and Andres, like, I don't know what my experience would have been like, but you know, I know we all do things on our own, but like there's always people there to support you, and like
100%.
I had Andres to support me during school, and I had Leo to support me after school, and you know, combined the three of us became
you guys do dope shit together. Yeah.
We did great stuff together, and you know, they made it easy. Like
it's
you know,
synergy.
They played off of my weaknesses. I helped with my strengths, and you know, it was dope. But like, you know, school in general was dope.
Yeah, it was a good experience.
I absolutely loved it. I mean, I know a lot of people, especially with filmmakers, say you don't need film school. And I agree. You don't need film school. But I feel like I specifically needed that.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. Like, maybe not, right? All right. Maybe you don't need film school, right? Anybody could grab a camera, you know, watch a YouTube video about how to set up lights and whatever the case may be, and maybe they could, if they're good, right? If they're a good storyteller, maybe they can make something happen. But at the end of the day, like, there's a whole, like, structure and, like, there's a science to it, right? Like, you don't just go grab a camera, shoot, like, and edit. Like, yeah, you could, and then you could put little skits maybe on Instagram and shit, but you're not shooting movies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not making, like big production. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing anything. I don't feel like you're doing it the right way if you don't go to school.
Yeah,
you know, you should go to school.
I agree with that. I feel like school kind of gave me again, like you said, the right way. Like, you know, we had classes kind of that touched on everything. I do wish we had classes that touched longer on those things. Like I remember.
But it's almost like a boot camp, right?
Yeah. I remember our directing class. We loved it. Our teacher, Danny, once again, he was like an amazing teacher. And after his class was over, we just did not have enough, like, you know. And I was kind of that person in the class that kind of was the one who would speak up a little bit more, who was more eager to do projects and things like that. So I'm like, yo, guys. Like,
because you love this shit. You're like, I'm going to do it. Like,
right.
I know the answer.
Right.
Let's call it over the shoulder, sir. Shot. Thank you.
But yeah, exactly. Like that was me. You know what I mean? So like I was like, hey, like we should try to get more directing classes. Like, you know, this is what we want. Like I feel like, you know, we should try to get this. Like, because it would be great. And you know, we all kind of submitted like a complaint, kind of like, or like a strong suggestion. Like, hey, like, you know. That was awesome, but it was not nearly enough of what.
It's not touching. It's not even like the. What do you know? The iceberg.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's always that little like. There's
it's
so
just
much,
the tip of the iceberg.
It's just a tip, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then that wasn't even that. It's like it was so short. It wasn't even the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Like you just you skim the surface, and it's like I need you to dive deeper for me.
Exactly. Like, you know, again, we got a lot, but the little bit that we got, at least to me, it was so addicting that I was like, there's no way this is the end of this specific class or whatnot. But they wound up giving us more directing classes, but not with the teacher that we actually wanted. So it kind of backfired on us a bit.
Shot you in the foot.
Yeah.
Damn. That sucks. That definitely sucks.
Yeah. But school was awesome. Yeah. It was a dope experience, and yeah.
I definitely had an experience or two in your film school as well.
I forgot you've actually come there.
Yeah, when you've needed some on the spot actors, right?
Yes.
So I actually have been in your school. I do know kind of the layout, and
I genuinely kind of forgot that you actually were there.
Yeah. We've been doing this for quite some time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
crazy.
Like.
I remember we needed an actor, like somebody was supposed to hire an actor. It was this whole debacle for this project at school.
I don't even know how I was available. I don't even remember
I just
Tell
remember we didn't
stories.
have anybody. Me and one of my classmates were walking around 42nd Street looking for people to ask to like act.
That's
for
so
us.
hard. That's
Random
so hard
people.
to do. People think it's sketchy. I don't know. Am I
Yeah.
gonna fucking get out of here?
Yeah, it was.
You gonna harvest my organs? Bring me in a building and harvest my fucking organs? Nah, I'm good. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, so
I'm
like
dead.
after like not too long, truthfully, like 10 minutes worth of trying, I was like, fuck this. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call my boy Rich and see if he could pull up. Like, you know, because I think at that point we had did that first film that we did Sunday evening.
Yes.
So I was
already
like,
had did that.
yeah,
Yes.
you had already did that.
Yes,
So I was
yes.
like, oh yeah, no, Rich could do this. Like, this
Like-
is not even as hard as like, you know, acting wise.
It's just not, yeah. At that moment, that was in my realm. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, and it's silent. I don't even think the kid needs to speak.
Right. I
Like,
was like, you come.
gotta be crazy. He's got crazy hair. I did have crazy hair.
You did have crazy hair. Yeah, so you had to be like some crazy guy in
Yeah.
the little short film that we did. But yeah, you pulled up.
was
Like,
nice.
you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, bro, like, what you doing? It's like, you would think you was asleep or some shit. I was like, bro, I need you to come to my school. Like, how fast you could get here. So, you got there like 40 minutes.
Yeah, like probably an hour, and I got there pretty soon because I think listen. Just a fun fact, guys. I'm literally always fucking sleeping. If I'm not doing something, I'm fucking sleeping. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Before this fucking podcast, I was sleeping. I'm not even gonna lie. He had to call me like, yo. And I'm like, yeah, I'm about to jump in the shower and head to you. He's like, you sleeping? What did you say? No, he said, what's up, sleepy guy?
I said, what up, sleepyhead?
What's up, sleepyhead? No, I'm gonna jump in the shower. I'm going over now. I was like, all right, cool. Nigga, I told that nigga 15 minutes. I didn't get here till like an hour later. This shit didn't even. That's how you know I was half
It
asleep. I
was
was
an
like,
hour. You said 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's an hour later.
that's how you know I was half asleep. I didn't even have like a good perception of time. I was like, yeah, I got a shower. I was just
It was
gonna
like
be there
40
15
minutes to an hour. I looked at my watch and then you text me. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay,
Because I'm thinking in my head, I'm like,
Did this nigga fall back
he
asleep?
might have went back to sleep. I was giving you like another 20 minutes.
I'm notorious for that. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm notorious for that. Like niggas call me up like, yo, no, I'm getting up now.
Right.
I'm right back to sleep.
Yeah, you had 20 minutes before I came in here, turned these fucking lights off, turned this shit off.
And like, he didn't hit me up. It was a wrap
Going
for
to
today.
bed. It's
Nah,
a
this is
wrap for
important. You
today.
know what I'm saying? The people need to know about you, Quay. You know what I'm saying? And I needed the roles to be reversed here. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm in control.
I mean, it is cool being on the other side.
You know,
I
it
guess,
is.
you know.
I thoroughly enjoy it. You know, I get to dictate the pace of the show here. It's fire. I like that.
It's a cool position to be in. I'll give it to you.
He said, I'll give it to you. We was having a conversation a little earlier, just a side note, and I was like, yo, you need to DJ Quay. And he's like, nah, like, you can't overdo it. I'm like, nah, bro. You're underdoing it.
Yeah.
You need to applause me.
I'm cautious with the.
Cautious with the soundboard.
Yeah.
Like, he don't want to let it off like it's a gun. He like, nah, you only get it when you get it.
We get it when you get it.
Get it when you get it. That's it. But yeah, let's move forward again. We always digress, which is fine. I enjoy it. But you finish school. Do you instantly start shooting films? Are you, you know, for people who don't know what the process is like, right? So people, you know, sometimes they have this perception that you go to school and once you're finished, you're like shooting movies for money and like, or whatever it is. Like I went to school for music, you know that. It's like once you're finished, you don't instantly make money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just like you know, an engineer all of a sudden. Like you are, right? You're a director. You know how to edit. You know how to do everything, but you don't just go in and you're not just successful, right? Or you don't just start profiting instantly. So after school, walk the people through that. Were you struggling with finding work, or was that even what you were doing instantly?
So I actually got my first gig while I was in school.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It was like towards the end. Yeah, it was towards the end.
My boy was hustling.
Yeah.
And he said, nah, well, you know, big dog shit. I had a gig before I finished school and I'm getting paid.
Well, I got lucky.
Now it's getting paid.
I got lucky.
I'm sure that doesn't happen often, right?
No,
Obviously.
I mean,
like you said,
it can sometimes. It all depends on, again, what opportunities you kind of run into. Who you know and things like that. But it's about like to the last episode, it was the same gig where I had Andres come on when I got offered that $500 or whatever,
and you split the bread.
Yeah, and I split the money with Andres. So that was.
So if you heard the last episode, he kind of touched on this.
Right.
Now you're getting a little deeper dive here.
Yeah, that was my first
Imposter Syndrome podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're here.
Yeah, and that was my first gig. It was cool. Like I said, it went well. And
gave half his bread away, but.
Yeah.
Overall, it was nice.
Overall, it was a nice experience.
Let me ask you a question. Do you regret, looking back at it now, right? Since you were so nervous or whatever, do you look back and you're like, damn, I could have kept that $500. I didn't need Andres. Not saying that you didn't need him, but like, you know what I'm saying? You obviously need him for the moral support, right? You kind of paid him for his moral support.
Definitely paid him for the moral support.
Yeah, because it was a one-man job, I'm assuming.
Like,
right?
it was a one-man job. Yeah. Definitely paid him
love
for
Andres,
the
by the way.
moral support. Yeah, I told the guy that Andres was my assistant.
This is my assistant, Jives.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's my assistant.
I gave him a funny ass name. I'd be like, that's my assistant. What's his name? Magnolia. That's some random shit. That's my assistant, Avocado. Refer to him as such.
But
niggas been looking at Andres like Avocado. I'm crying. All right, sorry.
Avocado.
Continue. Sorry about that.
But
so
I needed
that first gig.
I needed. Yeah, I don't regret to answer your question. I don't regret asking him to come.
You needed that.
Yeah,
it made 100% needed that. And it's your first gig.
Yeah, it made me feel comfortable. Again, and I'm not lying. I'm keeping it a buck. It was in the Hamptons, and I needed a ride also, and he drove. Like, I didn't want to have to rely on somebody else to get me home late at night or whatnot. Yeah, once we're done, me and him gonna get in the whip and we gone
together.
You know what I'm saying? So like that was another big thing too. Like it was really far, and I needed somebody.
Sense.
Yeah,
that's what made sense.
So like I paid him for the moral support and the ride. Like you know what I mean? Because again, I needed to get out there.
I gave him $150 for moral support and $100 for gas.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I just need you here, but I also need a ride. But you my mans, so I'm gonna give you half this bread.
Right.
Fill up your tank.
So, I needed that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, after your first gig happens, during school, how immediately after do you get your next job? Like when does that happen? The next paying gig. How far away is that? You know what I'm saying? Because we got to be realistic for the people here that we don't just jump in. Usually you're an outlier, right? Right. You're not getting paid gigs usually as a I guess like still in school. Like you haven't even graduated yet. You know what I'm saying? So like that usually doesn't happen. What happens after that? Where do you actually start making money?
So after that gig, the same guy got me another gig, and then I did another gig with him, and then another one, and then probably another one.
Oh, so he was just giving you money.
Yeah, like he would have these shoots. He hit me up.
Here you go. Okay, so you was just getting paid off rip.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a lot in like a row. You know what I'm saying? So like it would be maybe a gig every 2 weeks or so. Maybe sometimes it might even be longer. It all depended on what he had. Like he would have the whole connection, and then he'd hire a couple of people, and then we all go together and knock out the gig or whatnot. But like I guess things were going well. They got to one point where there was a gig and he couldn't make it, and I was like, well, what do you need for the gig? And I basically hired all the people that was going to be on the gig. So it's
my boy went from I'm working it to I'm running it.
Yeah, I hit up a couple people from school, and I was just like, I think like Kogan was like, hey, these people need a sound guy. This is how much it pays. Kogan was like, cool. I got Marquise on as like a PA. Probably someone else. I can't remember if it was Andres or Leo, but probably one of them. I'm not sure.
The usual suspects.
Yeah. But yeah, like we did that, and it felt really good to provide an opportunity for classmates that I like held in high regard, you know, or people, because me and Marquise didn't go to school together, but, you know, I thought he was a good filmmaker, a hard worker. So, like, you know, when the opportunity came up for, you know, these people to, you know, make some money and also kind of, you know, do their thing, instantly it was just like, yes, I need these people with me. I know these are the right people for
these
the
are
job.
the people,
So,
absolutely.
you know, that went well. Eventually he kind of, he left. He like went out of the country, whatever the case. So those jobs kind of dried up.
That dried out.
It dried up like, you know, kind of shortly after. Like that only lasted for like, I don't know, a couple months, maybe like 6 months. We did a bunch of
6 months span,
different jobs. Nice. Yeah, but you know, there was one of the clients who had remembered us from like one of the jobs, whatever, remembered me, and wind up getting a job through them. And, you know, sometimes that's how this stuff works. Yeah, like, it's like, you know, you do
there,
one thing.
You're doing events, you know, a bunch of people see you. They're probably like, yo, let me get a business card.
Right, you know, so.
You never know when you need a film guy.
Yeah.
Right?
So they wind up getting our contact information, whatever. And we did some stuff for them as well, a couple of projects. But again, nothing that was like really paying like super consistently. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, that was tough because that wasn't paying the bills. Like,
no.
you
still had to work while you're doing this.
Yeah, 100%. I still had to work. So like, it really wasn't providing me with, you know,
well, much of anything.
As far as money goes.
You know, a couple $100. It's like side money, right? It's like if I could make fucking you know, $700 from filmmaking this month extra, it's like, all right, it's not paying the bills, but that was $700 extra bucks I didn't have,
right?
Kind of deal.
But ironically, one of the things that kind of I hold like dearest the most is something that made me no money. You know, I did this project, the Journey Project, with Kerry D. Singleton. Shout out to Kerry, it's my boy.
I think I was on his
radio show.
And I accidentally cursed.
Dropped some bombs, some F bombs and S bombs.
Yeah, he was like, "You're not allowed to say that." Like, oh shit. Yeah. I think that's why I dropped another because I said something fucking. He's like, "You're not allowed to say that. We on a Christian like radio channel somewhere." And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." All right, let me just start. I just had to stop speaking, bro.
Man, they need to have the button on him.
Yeah, let me just tell you, I'm the worst.
Shout out to my boy Kerry, man.
Facts.
Kerry always been a supporter of mine, so I swear to God. But
nice
yeah,
dude,
I got
very nice dude.
Linked up with Kerry. Once again, this is an opportunity provided through my mom. My mom and Kerry was on a radio show, you know, at some point.
College?
Nah, not even like more recently, like maybe like 10 years ago or something.
Oh, wow.
Like that. Yeah.
Wait, so your mom's also into the media?
Yeah, like
media
she went
arts?
to school for communications. She got her master's degree this year actually, and communications.
Shout out to Mama Jones.
Shout out to moms. And yeah, so she knew Kerry, and Kerry had like this project. And let me tell y'all something. Sometimes you gotta take matters into your own hands. And with Kerry's project, say, what was that?
Oh my God! Somebody trying to break in the crib.
And
don't shoot.
With Kerry's project, that's kind of what happened because, you know, Kerry needed
it just fell in your hands, kind of deal, and
it didn't fall in my hands. I literally had to like grab the opportunity. So basically, Kerry wanted somebody to record BTS for a project that somebody was gonna film.
Somebody else was gonna film. Interesting.
So I was like, cool, like I could do that. Like that's super easy. I'm like, you know, I can make it even better. Like I can make it like a doc, like, you know what I'm saying? I'll interview people or on set, you know what I'm saying, and have BTS and all that. Like it'll be fire. He's like, all right, bet.
Like
that's
a real
dope. Yeah.
My boy's about to do a whole director's cut.
Yeah, I was about to, you know what I'm saying? I was gonna go crazy on it. I was like, cool.
People, I love that.
Like, that's dope, you know? And then kind of like the weeks went on and then the months went on. And I was like, yo, Kerry, like, what's good? Like, you know, what's going on? Like, I thought, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm really into this, like, you know. But he was like the guy that was supposed to be filming it was kind of like not doing this and doing that and this, that, and the
Be a little
third.
iffy.
Yeah, and I was like, well, Carrie, like, if you guys are planning to film it at this point in time, by now you need to have this, that, and the third done, And this is part of this is me coming straight from school and they again teaching us the right way,
the
right,
timeline.
exactly.
Like, listen, you don't even got like if this is a movie, you don't even have your storyboard,
Right.
and your release date is next month.
Right.
How does that make sense? Like,
Right.
make it make sense.
That's what exactly, and that's what
your release date is here. It needs things need to move.
And Kerry is like a real dude. Like he is somebody that you can talk to and keep it real with, and I appreciate that because I'm the same way. So I felt really comfortable, kind of just telling him like, yo, bro,
Just tell him straight up.
This is not,
it is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is not going how I think it should go. And eventually, I got to the point I was like, yo, Kerry, real talk, I could film this shit. I do the whole thing. Like, I got me and my boys. I'm telling you, I could cook this up and like we could do something.
It'll be, done.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum.
Mind you,
it'll be done.
I'm halfway in my mind full of shit because I really.
You don't know that you can do that.
I ain't had the experience I felt like to take on a project like that. You know what I mean? He wanted us to make like, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 different short like films kind of based on his poems that he had written. And the first one we did was Wanderer's Game. And I remember spending weeks trying to come up with a story. I mean, literally weeks of just me thinking, just sitting and thinking, pacing back and forth, going over different ideas, listening to the song over and over again, watching films, things like that. And eventually an idea hit me and, it just was
ran with it.
It's like the Jimmy Neutron, the brain blast, how he has at the end of every episode.
Yes, sir.
Just figures out the problem,
Oh, shit, light bulbs go off.
Light bulbs go off.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I got something. You just ran with that bitch.
Yeah, we ran with it, cooked up Wanderer's Game, and that's also kind of how
Great short film, by the way.
It is amazing. Think Shorts gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, so if you guys have not seen it, go on thinkshorts.com, look up the Wanderer's Game, and check it out. Let me know how y'all like that. But it's a great film.
It is a great film. I think it's fire.
I think that's kind of how I lassoed Leo into my network.
Yeah.
With that film, that was like the first thing that me and him had really like worked on. We had worked on like little stuff that was like other people's projects where we weren't necessarily.
You guys weren't in control.
Yeah, exactly. We were not in control. This was like
creatively or even like film shots, like
yes.
Anything. Yeah,
and I have respected Leo, as a filmmaker prior to working with him just because like we went to the same school and I had heard about him. Never had worked with him. He was in a different class than me. Yeah, he was in like the adjacent class. Like we started at the same time, but we weren't in the same like class.
Okay, yeah.
I had even
different cohort.
Yeah. There was even like a whole other class that he was in, and I joined the class specifically because I knew that he was going to be in the class. So I was like, oh, him and these like other guys or whatever. So I'm like, oh, cool. That's like an opportunity for me to get to work with them or whatever. Like, just because I wanted to work with other people. Like I had worked with people in my class like so much, but I wanted to like
tiring, right?
It wasn't tiring. It's just that there was different styles.
Yeah.
So like, and the other class was slightly more active, which is what I wanted. Like people in my class were active, but not nearly as like eager as I was. I was just like, oh, you want to shoot? Like, let's just shoot this. Let's just do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
just shoot.
Yeah.
Just want to shoot.
Yeah, I was just really intense with it. Like, you know what I mean? Anytime
what you doing today? Shooting?
Right.
What are you doing?
Exactly. So like there would be points where they'd be like, oh, we're gonna do this project in class. Like, who's gonna direct it? And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing. But then eventually, like, the majority of the class is just like, yeah, Quay's gonna do it. Like, you know what I mean?
It's who's gonna direct it. Nobody put their hand though. It's Quay.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Jeremy, put your fucking hand down. It's Quay, bro. What the fuck's wrong with you, bro?
But again, I appreciated that. Like, they knew one that I wanted to like, really do that stuff or whatnot. But anyways, yeah. So Leo. Anyways, I tried to get in this class with Leo. We do the class, day 1 class. Leo and these other guys absolutely hated the class, dropped the class. So I still didn't get a chance to work with him.
Wait,
even
they
after
hated it and they dropped out?
They dropped the class.
Why did you drop the class then?
Because I still technically liked it, but eventually I dropped the class because it got to the point where it was just me in the class. I'm telling you, I had a class. It was like a nighttime class, evening class, and it was just me and the teacher. That's it.
No.
Just the 2 of us. The whole class.
Just the 2 of us. One day you walk in, you're like...
Yeah, it was so awkward because you know
Like,
she was
ah.
a woman and she was like she wasn't like that much older than me. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like odd. Like you know what I mean? It was just a really odd situation to be in. So like after that day, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this class. Like you know, I had them switch my class. I switched over to a documentary or something like
My
that.
boy said, guidance counselor? What class are we in?
Yeah.
Can you put me on
And at first they didn't want to change my class, but then I went to the actual principal and was like, yo, like,
It's just me.
right.
Like, this is crazy.
I'm like, yeah,
I don't
it's
have
crazy.
nobody to collab with.
Yeah.
I don't have no like peers.
Yeah.
Like it's just me and a teacher. I'm pretty much getting tutored.
Right,
on this
exactly.
subject.
Exactly. That's how I
Like,
kind of felt like being tutored, which again is not a bad thing, but in the
Nah.
how it was just like, no, that's not what I want right now. Like, you know, but he 100% understood and like, listen, whatever class he wants to go to, put him in that class. Like, just get him out of this one.
So you went to another, you said documentary class?
Yeah, and that was super dope. I made a documentary about
Games.
video games. Yeah,
I was in it.
Adult gaming. Yeah, you were in that. You're in everything, bro. You're in everything. What the
Let's
hell?
get it, baby. See, that's what you guys don't know is that like I literally have a part in everything. It's crazy. If I'm not like not everything, but for a lot of things, if I'm not in the film, I'm probably working on it. I'm probably like holding a fucking the reflectors.
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
light.
You're doing something.
I'm some nigga that don't know nothing, but they like, Rich, just hold this like this. And just
Right.
stand like that. And they're like, nice, I'm a gaffer. And they're like, that's not what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, am I a grip? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know anything.
Nah, you're in everything. That's crazy.
It's hilarious, actually. It's you know.
Yeah, but yeah, Wander's game again. I got Leo in there with me, and you know, me and his relationship kind of took off from there. We did a bunch of other stuff with Kerry. After that, you know, all of it was awesome.
Crashed a drone.
Yeah, we crashed a drone in Boston.
Also had a car mount that didn't work.
Yeah, our rig was too heavy for the car mount. I mean, bro, we are really ambitious when it comes to like kind of some of the things that we're willing to do.
You just like, let's get a car mount.
Yeah.
Don't check the weight. None of that. It's like this car mount, like 3 pounds. Them niggas put like a 20-pound camera on it.
Yeah.
Thought that shit was gonna
Our
last.
Black Magic rig was just kind of a monster.
That shit is brolic.
It just
The
wouldn't.
Black Magic is
yeah,
brolic. It is big.
Yeah, it just wouldn't fit on that. But yeah, we had like a lot of good times. We again went to Boston a couple of times for Carrie did some stuff up there.
Yeah. That was fun, huh?
Yeah, it was dope.
Wait, didn't you get there the first day and it was like fucking pouring, raining?
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
It was actually
bro.
almost a bust.
It was almost a bust because
And
all of
I
our stuff was
remember-
gonna be filmed outside. Like
Yeah,
everything
I
we went there
remember
to
you
do
were
was
like,
outside,
"Bruh,"
and
then
was
it like
just
cleared
pouring.
up, right? Like
Cleared up
out
magically.
of nowhere.
Yeah, it was just crazy. And then we just like waited like maybe an hour, it cleared up, and it was like, all right, it's not raining, let's
But
go.
I remember when you guys got there and he posted a story. I'm talking about a monsoon.
Yeah.
It was pouring. Like you
Pouring.
couldn't see like maybe like 10 feet in front of you. Like it was so much rain. It looked almost uncomfortable. Like if you had to walk a block, you were
Oh yeah,
completely-
drenched. Yeah,
yeah,
you could
completely
not.
soaked, like,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was like raining like ridiculously,
it
but
was the monsoon type of weather.
yeah, cleared up though. You know what I'm saying? We got some good stuff. It was dope. Things that we
You know what I'm
used. It
saying?
was a good time. Crashed the drone. You know, we did a lot of stuff.
The crashed drone.
yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick. Let's just touch on how you got a brand new drone.
Brand new, bro.
Brand
First
new.
time we ever used it. Carrie bought it
crash
for
it.
us. Carrie bought it for us. He was like, oh, you know,
You
like
get some bird's eye view shots.
yeah, he
Not
was like,
anymore.
oh, this would be dope.
Carrie,
You know what I'm saying? You guys got
who was it?
the drone.
Andres, right? Andres
He
Bassett?
was the one who was driving the drone. All right, and
Andres.
he crashed the drone. He blames it on everybody but him, being Leo. Oh, we wasn't directing him properly. This and
What
that.
you mean? You're driving. Don't you have your phone on it?
Yeah, but like there's some blind spots. So like, you know, we were acting as spotters to kind of tell him like, you know, you're too low, you're too high. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he was too low. So I'm yelling at him, go up, go up, go up. But he's not. He's just going like backwards. And he runs into the tree because I can see that he's gonna run in the tree if he don't go higher. So that's what happened. And yeah, crashed the drone.
First day. Didn't get
First day.
no shots with it.
No shots. First day. Crashed that
I
drone.
love that. Random. Can I get a time check?
53.
All right, so we're about to wrap this up, and at the end of every episode, we like to bring it back to the imposter syndrome, right? What was your imposter syndrome? When did when did you start to feel like that, and then when did you let it go? What caused you to like realize, that like it's not super important, right? Like to not feel like I guess it's the lack of confidence, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever, or like not feel like you belong.
I mean, there probably were several instances, but honestly, parts of making Wanderer's Game, again, it was a little overwhelming. I had to do casting, and there was all of these different actors and people that were involved, and
A lot
Carrie,
of moving parts.
a lot of moving parts, and Carrie. He was very passionate about his project, and I wanted
it to come a certain way.
yeah,
Right?
and I wanted to do a good job, like
Absolutely.
and
You want to do a good job every time.
wanted to do a good job every time. So I had some doubts when making that. I mean, granted, it turned out to be extremely successful, like one of my most successful movies, if not
You got
the
nominated.
most. Yeah, it had a couple of nominations.
I don't know if that was mentioned earlier, but I think that's definitely
It was
worth
nominated
mentioning.
for best drama, and
Let's get a cheers to that. Let's get a cheers and a round of applause.
cheers.
Yeah. Oh, boom.
So yeah, again, one of my more successful films. But honestly, making DNA, which is what I've been working on these past couple of years, basically.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that.
So DNA is basically is loosely based on my own life. It is based off the experience that I had when I was a martial artist, and I got my injury, and I was kind of working these jobs that didn't really mean a lot to me, and I was kind of really depressed trying to find my place. Basically, that's what DNA is about. It does not necessarily reflect my entire journey.
No, it's not. It's not a true story.
It's not a true story. Yes,
But
it's
it
mainly fictional, but it has elements of my life.
Elements that
Yeah,
that make it
and
that makes it hit home.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone said, right?
Yeah, so it was a very personal story. And again, it had so many moving parts. It was the biggest production that I have ever controlled myself. I mean, we really grew up as filmmakers making that. And it was terrifying. I mean, I remember before every shoot being extremely excited, but extremely terrified at the same time.
It's the angst, right?
Yeah.
You feel that butterflies. You feel the
Right.
You're almost fighting the urge to want to do it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it was
I'm
just
I don't even know if I want to do this.
right.
Like,
I mean, I had so much doubt, especially like right beforehand, because it's like, okay, cool, you did all this preparation, and now it's the
real.
day to
now
you
it's
have to
real.
execute.
You have to
this shit.
execute. Now it has to happen.
Yeah.
We can plan all we want.
Yeah, and there was money involved. That's another thing. A lot of the other projects beforehand didn't have money involved. So when I say money involved, I mean I'm renting a space. I've spent money on equipment.
Yeah.
I'm paying actors.
I'm crashing drones.
This shit has to count.
It does have to count.
You know what I mean?
Nah, it does.
I don't have a
Absolutely.
day to waste to mess up and things like that. So everything has to be in order. And not only that, there's so many people that I was overseeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like a lot of
100%.
decisions that was right on my plate, and it's like you don't never know if you're making these right decisions. And a lot of times I just question, like, who the hell am I to be doing this movie,
right?
spending all this money, gathering all this people to do something that I created? And it's just like,
But
you know what I
even
mean?
before that, when you got your first couple gigs, and you didn't even feel like you were qualified. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
at
It's just
all.
like
Yeah.
we're just always gonna have
Not
these
at all.
moments, right?
I
Where
just-
it's like
yeah.
the bigger the project or just any project. Anytime you're jumping into a new realm, I just feel like you're gonna have these uncertainties, right?
100%. And honestly, like, once I was in the element, though, I felt
fine.
so amazing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was just completely different. Like, I could just
Jump in the water. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
it's
It
warm.
just felt, really great. And then experiencing that high at the end of the night
Yeah,
after
absolutely.
you've gone through, a crazy, day of shooting. But again, those feelings come back all over again the next shoot day, just because, especially with the way we were shooting, like, it wasn't like day after day after day. It was, a couple of months at a time. And
Yeah.
again, a lot of that was lack of experience, preparation, money as well. That prevented, me from kind of doing it in a way that I should have done it, But I'm glad that I
I mean, it still
experienced those things.
It still came out all these projects with lack of money still, they came out good and they added to your experience, and they also added to your knowledge, right? Now you know that certain things require a certain budget.
Right, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? You
It-
understand that. Like
Yeah.
we talked about it earlier, right? You said you got all these scripts and stuff, and we know like there's no budget for this shit.
Yeah.
It's shit that I'm planning, like there's no budget for it.
Right. 100%, and that's because of DNA. Like, it's like now I know, like, okay, like you got to really think about this before you
Yes.
decide to jump on into it, because once I got started, I had to keep going.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? You do one day of shoots, and it's like, all right, well, I spent this much money, so now I have to
gotta
keep
just
going.
keep spending money
I have
and
to
keep going.
Yeah, I have to
Because
keep
if I
going.
don't, then I just spent
Right.
$2,000 on nothing.
Yeah. So,
Can't let
just
that happen.
there was a lot of, anxiety and doubt that went through the whole process of making that film.
Mm-hmm.
And, even now, like, the film is finally finished. I went through a kind of a large filmmaking hiatus, I would say, for this whole past year. Like, it's just been a lot of...
Well, I think we wrapped this year, no?
We wrapped in January.
Yeah, so, oh my God, we're going on a year. No, but we filmed stuff. We have
We
stuff.
filmed
Me
some
and
other
you
stuff,
filmed, Don't Look Back.
Don't Look Back,
We have other stuff, but
Yeah. But again,
this
I
is
didn't really...
at the production level of this, it's night and day, right?
Definitely night and day. And even like, at the... Just, I just could have done more, and I could have done better things. I just feel like
Hindsight is 2020.
Yeah,
Let's not
of
forget,
course.
right? We look back, we're like, oh, I could have did this, I could have did that, but overall,
and sometimes we're our biggest, critics. You know what I mean? I go through that a lot. Where
I wonder if that's the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Being your biggest critic.
Right.
Right?
I have people tell me all the time, like, hey, like Valentina says, like, oh, like, you don't have to be like, so hard on yourself. Like,
you don't have to be your own worst enemy.
Like, right. Like, like, relax. Like, you're human. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're dealing with these things.
I think that's a beautiful message. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, be kind
you know what I'm
to
saying?
yourself.
As a creator, be kind to yourself, because we are our worst enemy, and to us, we want to be perfect, right? Or our idea of perfect, and like it's unrealistic. And
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that right now.
It is.
Everybody
It
listening,
is.
it's not realistic. It's not one of those things that like I'm gonna be perfect. Like you put the time in and consistent. You're consistent with it. Things you get better or whatever the case may be, but you're never gonna be perfect. And
Right.
you need to get over this idea of I want to be perfect, or my art needs to be perfect before I put it out, because to you it's never perfect, but to somebody else or the millions of people who are gonna like it, they're gonna be like, oh my God, this is perfect. I
Right.
need this. Like I needed this music. I needed this movie. I needed this painting on my wall. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you just we circle back to last week, right? Just put it out.
You just put it out. Right.
put it
Exactly.
out.
So, now I'm going through editing, DNA, like, it took forever. We shot it in 6K and, computer. We underestimated,
Definitely underestimated
what type of
but-
computer it took to edit that type of footage. So, it took a while to kind of get the equipment to be able to edit that. A lot of moving parts. So, I finally got that going. So I'm editing the film now myself, hoping to have it out, eventually.
Yeah. It's coming out. I think it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
My personal a vision, fingers crossed. I feel like it come out spring or summer of 2023.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shooting for no later than my birthday, which is in June. I think that's definitely achievable. And yeah, I'm working on it. Again, go through a lot of doubt, just even, going back through the footage, but I would say for the most part, I have a smile on my face while I'm watching the footage. It's just so amazing, again, to see this thing that I wrote myself and that me and so many other people worked so hard on, and to see the results of it, it's just like, it's really heartwarming. Like, it makes me feel like, we did something that mattered.
Yeah.
Like
you feel accomplished.
Yeah, I feel very accomplished from looking at it.
And think about it, honestly, maybe all the little, quote unquote setbacks that made you appreciate what you were watching, right? So normally when we do things where, you record, we edit, we put it out, boom, it's done, right? But you know how many times that like I'll record a song, I won't edit or anything, I'll come back to it like 3 months later and I hear, I'm like, oh my God, this is a banger. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you haven't seen this shit since you filmed it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
You
I
know what
have
I'm
not
saying?
seen
So
it.
when you're watching, you're like, oh my God, it's actually good. Yeah. It's just like how I remember it, or even better.
Yeah.
A lot
When
of
I'm
times.
down on myself sometimes, again, back to this, I watch Wanderers game because it's really good.
It is
and
really
I
good.
watch it and I say to myself, like, okay, cool. Like, you know how to do this,
Yeah,
a
you
little
have the,
bit.
You have the capability.
Yeah,
you know
can
what
do
I'm saying?
this.
You have the capability, the talents, the skill, and the worth ethic, which
Yeah.
is the most important thing.
So, and again, I think it's important to, kind of revisit your past accomplishments to kind of help feed, your ego, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, you kind of need that ego boost sometimes. You need that confidence boost. And sometimes you have to get it from yourself. So you have to take those smaller moments of success and kind of like look at that. No matter how hard it is.
You have to relish in
kinda,
that.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Bask in those little successes, right?
Yeah.
Because those are important. Little success, like, little goals that are accomplished add up to bigger goals at the end, right?
100%.
You got steps. People, a lot of people want to jump, right? They want to be, this is my goal. I want a mansion. For you to have a fucking mansion, that takes, money. And for you to have a lot of money, it takes a certain worth ethic. And for you to have that worth, that you gotta put in the time.
You gotta put in that time. Yeah.
End of the day, put in the time.
And put in the time, that's really what it comes down to, I feel like. And, I'm at this point right now in my life where I'm just ready and willing to put in the time that I kind of feel like that I haven't put in. Again, I put in some time.
Before,
I've neglected. I spent a lot of time working recently, and I just, again, the working is great, but I'm ready to kind of put in more work with filmmaking and being creative.
You just gotta double
more
down
specifically.
on this shit, right?
Double down. That's 100%. What I've been saying. I'm just going all in right now. Is my saying?
Absolutely,
all in.
It's just like us today. To touch really quick on what you were saying. It's like about being all in. I was feeling like I was cooked.
Oh yeah, I was super tired earlier. Been doing shit the last couple of days.
Nothing.
Yeah, I gotta work tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta work tomorrow too. It's my last day of the season. Fire. But he called me, and I very much so had the opportunity to just bang that call. But when I seen it was him, I was like, we got to do this podcast. Like, this is important. You know what I'm saying? For me and him to have any type of success in this, we need to push forward. It needs to be consistent. So it's like, we have an idea, we need to attack, and don't matter if I'm feeling like shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter if I'm tired, whatever. I could go to sleep fucking an hour ago and be up for 24 hours.
I mean, Kobe said that's the quote, Kobe Bryant, that's what he said is with those moments.
Rest in peace, Kobe.
Rest in peace, Kobe. When you don't want to, that's when you really are testing yourself.
That's when you have to do it.
That's when you want to.
And I'll be honest with you, I felt like shit earlier. And I probably would have continued to feel like shit had I stayed sleeping, because I would have basked in that. You know what I'm saying? But now that I got up, like, I fucking got here, we're talking. Even when I got here, I felt like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We both were kind of like...
We were like groggy.
Yeah.
If you listen to the beginning of this podcast, I think you're going to notice there's a noticeable shift in energy from
the beginning
hey,
to
what's
now.
up, guys? And it's like, boom, we're here now, nigga. Like, this actually just brought some life into me, and I'm glad that we did today.
Yeah, 100%.
Be consistent, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking do it.
Yeah, consistency is definitely
Stop
the key.
not doing it.
You got to believe in yourself. And again, look back on your past accomplishments and use that to kind of further your ego. But once again, guys, this is another episode of the Imposter Syndrome podcast. I am your host, Quay Jones. My man, Rich.
I'm your co-host, Rich.
Co-host with the interview today. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me,
you know
Rich.
What I'm saying? Flip script. What is it? Flip script.
Flip the script.
From American Dad. He's like, flip script. Ooh, ooh.
American Dad. What a classic.
I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
But
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you guys once again for listening to the Imposter Syndrome podcast. If you guys like the show, please give us a shout out. Share it with your friends.
Definitely share it with your friends. We love that. Hit that subscribe button if you can subscribe. Hit that follow button, whatever it is, whatever button to boost interaction, do that. And we appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all. Well, this brings us to the end of this episode. Again, thank you, Rich, for joining us. Thank you for doing the interview.
Always.
We hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. As always, thanks for listening. to the Imposter Syndrome podcast. It's your boy Quay Jones. I'm gonna holler at y'all.
Yes, sir. We'll see you next week.